The career counselor was like, you're not going to be one of the first ones to get a job because, you have this big gap in your resume. So I was on a mission to prove her wrong. And I was annoying everybody I knew on LinkedIn to the point where I got a warning from LinkedIn that they were going to shut down my account because I was spamming people trying to make connections.
Welcome to Ship It Anyway, the show from Hero Devs that's part game show and part conversation. Two guests will compete in a series of games about real tech quirks, fails, and features with hot takes in between about those times in life when things might not be perfect, but sometimes you just have to ship it anyway. I'm your host, Wendy Hurst. Today I've invited two guests from Hero Devs to compete for the winning title. In one corner we have Barbara Frederico. She joins us from San Diego, California. She brings a unique blend of sales expertise and entrepreneurial spirit to her role as a sales development representative at Hero Devs. With a Bachelor's of Arts degree in psychology from the University of South Florida, she understands the nuances of human behavior, a skill she honed during her tenure in gym sales and office management. When she's not practicing yoga or attempting to surf, she's horseback riding, snowboarding, or hosting themed gatherings like what? Give us an example.
So actually this past weekend I just had a garden themed picnic in my backyard, and everyone came and brought a different dish, a blanket, and just any crafts that they had lying around.
Her experience is living in 5 different states and participating in beauty pageants add a unique flair to both her personal and professional life. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
Thank you. I feel like it's such a flex. Like, I don't want to look like a tryhard. I'm just your average Joe, really.
What percentage of your charisma is caffeine-based, and does that have anything to do with your strong dislike for broccoli?
Whoa, that is an interesting question. I've never thought of it that way. Um, Charisma is caffeine based. You know what? I actually have a feeling that like 75% of it is because I did this crazy thing where I came off of caffeine for a little while, and my manager at the time was like, "Is this the real you?" She's like, "It's just like you're so mellow and like calm." And I was like, "Yeah, like I guess this is the new me, just like doing a little bit of matcha in the mornings." But then that only lasted like I did it for a month, and I was like, "I need my personality back." So I started chugging caffeine. But in terms of broccoli, I hate broccoli. I have hated broccoli since I was like at the womb. Yeah. I don't know if there's
Okay.
a correlation there, but it's nasty. Now, if you coat it with cheese, I still don't want it. Like, no, my parents were not getting that down for me.
That's fun. It's fun that you still feel that way as an adult.
Yeah, I cannot stand it. No.
In the other corner, we have Rebecca Austin, who joins us from Pinehurst, North Carolina. Rebecca is a data analyst at Hero Devs who went from studying psychology to slinging code with a pit stop in nursing and food service along the way. After earning her Bachelor's of Science degree from the University at Buffalo and leveling up her tech skills at General Assembly's coding boot camp, she now turns raw data into sweet structured insights. When she's not analyzing trends, she's running her own treat and dessert business for events because spreadsheets are great, but chocolate is better. Rebecca's world revolves around her 2 kids, which means her hobbies currently include baking, surviving, and finding time to breathe. She grew up in the Philippines with 14 siblings. Yes, 14. That's a 1-4. So she knows a thing or two about chaos management, multitasking, and negotiating peace treaties over dessert. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Question for you. Do you name your spreadsheets or do they name you?
I name my spreadsheets, unfortunately. Like, sometimes I try to make it funny when I can, when it's appropriate. I'll have like data objects or something. Oh my, like, so sometimes I try to name them funny things, but I probably should just let the data speak for itself.
Today we're going to start with a game called This or That. This game doesn't have any winners. It's just a fun way to get to know you a little bit. I will say two things, and you just say which one you'd choose. Barbara, I'm going to have you go first. Make 100 cold calls in a day or spend 8 hours in a CRM cleanup.
100 cold calls by far.
Close one huge deal solo or help your team close 5 smaller ones together.
I like just getting a small win and like checking a box along the way. So I feel like the 5 small wins would just give me more dopamine and like collaborating with the team on that. So I'm going to say 5 small wins.
Win a karaoke battle or a dance-off.
Karaoke battle, because fun fact, when I used to do pageants, my talent was singing. But I also look like a fool saying that because we did karaoke at the kickoff and then I did not sing.
Have a pet parrot that repeats your sales pitch or a cat that judges your quota.
Cat that judges my quota. I'm cat lover through and through. I grew up, had my cat from like 5 to 21. We were besties.
Always speak in rhymes or only communicate via emojis for a day.
Emojis.
Unlimited Uber rides or unlimited coffee shop credit.
Coffee shop credit.
Get stuck in a rom-com or a spy thriller.
Spy thriller, for sure. I like exciting and adventure-packed.
Rebecca, over to you. Build a dashboard from scratch or clean up someone else's messy spreadsheet.
Oh, build a dashboard all day.
Present data to the exec team live or write a detailed report that no one questions.
Present to the exec team live. Then I get to showcase all my work and then they get to go, ooh, ah.
Only use dark mode forever or be stuck in light mode forever.
Light mode.
Have a photographic memory or the ability to pause time.
The ability to pause time.
Always know the exact stats on everything or never need to use a calculator again.
Always be able to know the stats on everything.
Live in a cozy cabin with no Wi-Fi or a smart home with 5 roommates.
The smart home with 5 roommates. Yeah, because then you would have a bunch of people to hang out at your smart home with and have a bunch of techie stuff. And you could always, if you had a smart enough house, you could like have a soundproof room if you need it.
That's
true. You push a button and all the sound outside goes away, like noise canceling headphones.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Find a $100 bill once a week or find a mystery button that delivers either $1,000 or a glitter explosion.
The mystery button. Higher reward, higher risk.
Well, yay! That was fun. Now I'd like to learn a little bit more about your background. Barbara, tell us what you do at Hero Devs and how you got here.
I feel like I'm kind of the jack of all trades at the moment. Definitely my role is sales and outbound and calling and reaching out to people, but it's also a lot of building things on the back end. So creating messaging and sequences and A/B testing and collaborating with the team and call blitzes and all different types of things and figuring out what works because that's, it's a new sales team. So that's kind of like how it goes. But how I got to Hero Devs, I was working with our CRO over at BuildKite, Christine, obviously, and when she came to Hero Devs, I kept hearing like how awesome it was and the environment and how good of a crew she had going over there. And she's just like super pumped and excited. And she kind of knew that I was looking for some other opportunities. So we ended up connecting. I interviewed and just loved everyone that I met. And it was a really good fit. And now there's a couple of us over here. We have a little BK squad going. So yeah, it's been super fun. But and then funny enough, the sales kickoff that we did with her at BuildKite brought us to San Diego. And that's why I ended up moving to San Diego was because we had the sales kickoff here like over a year ago. I fell in love with it and 3 months later signed my lease, left Denver and ended up moving here. So yeah, I feel like people might attend sales kickoffs and then end up making moves because I definitely did. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here. What about you, Rebecca? Tell us what you do at Hero Devs right now.
I'm the data analyst at Hero Devs, so I'm in charge of getting any data that anybody needs. Also, I work a lot in Domo, and I'm like the Domo wizard, and anything you need in Domo, I will put together for you. Just if you need any data or any reports, I'm the go-to person. I also, like Barbara, I'm kind of in other areas as well that are outside of strictly my role. So, which is fun for me because I like being able to do different things. For Hero Devs,
Mhm.
I so I went to school for psychology, and then after that I went enrolled in nursing school, and I ended up getting pregnant in nursing school, and I wasn't allowed to finish because when you get pregnant, you're not allowed to go to clinicals because it's a liability for the hospital. When I had my daughter, she was like a nightmare. So she was a very hard infant. She was the type that I could not put her down, and I couldn't hire anybody to watch her because they would quit within a week. I went through 3 sitters. And after that, I was like, I guess I'm a stay-at-home mom now. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years, and then I enrolled in coding boot camp because I have a sister who does coding and a niece who does coding as well. And they just seeing them excel in their roles really inspired me to enroll myself. And when I was in coding boot camp, the career counselor was like you're not going to be one of the first ones to get a job in throughout the program because you have this big gap in your resume. So I was on a mission to prove her wrong, and I was annoying everybody I knew on LinkedIn to the point where I got a warning from LinkedIn that they were going to shut down my account because I was spamming people trying to make connections. And I eventually connected with Shelby, one of the engineers at Hero Devs, and I reached out to her, and she kind of became a mentor throughout the program. I would go to her for any questions that I had or just any curiosities about the industry. And she, the night before I got contacted by Shelby, I was bawling my eyes out. I was about to graduate in like a week. And I was like, I'm not going to get a job. It's going to be so hard for me to get a job. Just like I've been applying everywhere and nobody's, getting back to me. And the next day, Shelby messaged me and was like, hey, there's a position open up at Hero Devs, and it's not for an engineer, but it's for a data analyst if you're interested. And I was like, yes, anything, like I will take it. And so I ended up being the first person to get a job out of my program. And it remained that I was the only person that had a job out of my program for the first year. So,
What?
That's
mhm.
awesome. I love
So
that. So
Look at
much
you
grit.
proving all those people wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, you just have
Good.
to be annoying enough. That's the key.
That's the name of the game. Like, yeah.
I love that you were just like knocking on so many doors that LinkedIn was like,
Yep.
you're a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
This thing
like,
that we're
you're
built for.
spamming people.
Yeah, it's like this thing that I was built for to help you network with, you're networking too much.
Yeah.
When I was little, I literally used to. So, whenever we would have something come up for like vacation Bible school or like raising money for something, I would literally go door to door asking people for like spare change to donate to whatever we were fundraising for. And they definitely were like, what is this kid doing? But I just did not have a care in the world. Like, I would literally be like, do you guys have any spare change laying around? And these people would just show up with like cups of spare change or like go to their car and like get all of their quarters and stuff. And then of course like my team ended up winning like the free ice cream sundae thing, and I was like, okay, this works. Like all I have to do is go ask people. And they just had this little kid, and that's where like I feel like I got my entrepreneurial spirit from, because I was always doing stuff like that. It's so good.
What's a skill that you feel like you had to learn the hard way at a previous job?
This is gonna I don't even know if I should say this on camera, but I'm good at it now. So, hey, we all learned something. I had to learn to take like constructive criticism and feedback and not take it personally. And that is something that I really like had to work hard at and instill. And it wasn't until a manager like set me aside. I was probably like 19 or so. So I was like still figuring it out. But they were like, hey, like, I can tell something's going on. Like, I don't know what it is, but whatever this isn't personal. Like, we just need to get you back on track. And I was like, you know what? I really respect you for just like saying it and calling me out and like talking about the elephant in the room. And then after that, like smashed quota, never had an issue again. And it was just because we like created that transparency and like they actually called me out on something that I was like, okay, like, yeah, you're right. I need to just be able to take this and move on.
What about you, Rebecca?
Probably just working under pressure and multitasking. I think when I was a server, I got a lot of that, and it was a lot of like managing multiple people and having to juggle a bunch of different tables and work under pressure. Like, even if I wanted to cry because if people were being mean to me, I can't bring that over to the next table and I have to put on a happy face. So I think multitasking.
What's a favorite project you've worked on in the past?
Um, I think just during COVID, I built my jewelry business, Runaway Gypsies, and that came out of just like sheer boredom, like wanting to be creative, like still wanting to do something in like a really stressful period of time. And that just blossomed. Like I learned how creative I could be and like how I could get out and make connections. And I just ended up like showing up at farmers markets and setting up and meeting people and all of that just became like one of my favorite things to do during the week. So yeah, it was in a sense like it was a project for me, just kind of like building my brand from the ground up. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
Rebecca, you kind of have a similar story. You also have something that you like to do on the side.
Chocolux. It's
I
like
love
a
it.
play,
Chocolux?
yeah, play on the word chocolates, but it's like luxury chocolates.
Okay.
The Chocolux. Um, yeah, I make like custom chocolate dipped treats and desserts for events. So people will typically order them for like baby showers and kids' birthday parties, and they'll have like a theme. And they actually give me a lot of creative freedom.
What made you want to start that?
I've just always been into baking and just that sort of thing. Like when I was in high school, I used to bake cupcakes and cake pops all the time for friends and family for holidays. And every time they're always like, you should like you should start a business. Like I would pay for these. So just enough hearing that enough, I was like, okay, maybe I should start a business. And I'm starting off now with just easy stuff like chocolate dipped, but eventually I want to branch out to doing cakes as well.
What about you, Barbara? Why jewelry?
Think jewelry just because it's just kind of captivating. Like when people are out and shopping around, like it's just something that excites people. Honestly, once I started getting out into the community, it really wasn't even the jewelry anymore. The part that I loved about it was meeting people and connecting with them and then introducing like the models to the boutiques and like arranging the photo shoots and like all of those little projects that came up in between. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm super passionate about. So I don't want to say that I wasn't even passionate about jewelry, but by doing that, I learned even more about what I loved about owning a business. And that was building community. Now I kind of take that, I try to take it into like my personal life as well and just host little things and connect people.
I can definitely relate to the excitement of just connecting with people. I love networking with people. When I came to Hero Devs and they started doing more conferences kind of earlier on, I discovered that conferences are like, they were like E.T.'s finger, and he would like reach inside and like touch my heart and heal me in ways that I didn't know I was hurt or broken. Like, that's what conferences became to me. I love conferencing and meeting new people and getting them excited about things that I'm excited about too.
You never know what an opportunity is going to lead you to unless you just say yes. So, like, even if it's the same role or like moving to a different place, like saying yes to that opportunity just opens doors to things that you could not have expected. And then all of a sudden, you're learning something new about yourself, and there's all of these added elements. So that's why I am someone that just likes to say yes to trying new things. Like you never know who you're gonna meet, where you're gonna go, what you're gonna learn. Like that's what makes it so much fun.
I even have a tattoo dedicated to that whole concept.
Really? What
You
is it?
Yeah.
do?
Yeah,
What
I
is
have
it?
like it literally just says we on over here. It says is this for yes, essentially, which
Mhm.
encapsulates like the whole thing Barbara was saying about like just saying yes because it opens up a lot of doors and opportunities.
I love that. That's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
That's
I
so
have a
funny.
tattoo in the same place, but it doesn't say we.
What does it say?
Should I start? Okay, I'll show you.
Yeah.
It says, I write my story.
Oh,
love
that's
that.
beautiful.
I like how it's all like they're both about story and like,
Yeah.
They're
of
both so
saying yes.
positive.
Yeah.
I got this tattoo after I left the Mormon church.
Oh,
That was
wow.
like 10, 11 years ago, something like that. I don't want to talk too much about it.
See the significance there though. Like that's really cool.
What's a common misconception that people have about your job?
A lot of people would just consider this role to be like very transactional, or that like salespeople are only trying to reach out for like their own personal gain, which is where I think the element of like outbound prospecting can get so tough, because when you're calling people and you're emailing and you're like sending a LinkedIn message, it's easy to feel like you're bothering them, or they think that like you're looking to take essentially. But in reality, what I love about sales is being able to connect to a product that I truly believe can make somebody's life easier or better. So when I reach out to them, it really is because I know that we have a solution that can help, and I want to be able to tell them about them and make them aware of that. So I guess long-winded answer is I think people can just think sales is transactional or like kind of slimy. Like they don't want to trust salespeople. Um, but yeah, and in reality, I really don't think it's like that at all. Like if you could stand behind the product and you truly think it's going to help, that's what excites me about it, you know? It's not just getting somebody on a call and taking the box of having a meeting. Like it gives me personal fulfillment just to be able to help someone, whether that's by selling a product or in my personal life as well. That's kind of my personal connection to it.
I feel like a lot of people think maybe it's could be boring. I don't know. I think maybe you think data analyst and you think like you're just looking at numbers all day. But I actually think it's pretty creative, at least the way that we do it here at Hero Devs. Like I love being able to put visuals to numbers and like work work with the data in different ways and present it differently. And you're putting visuals to everything. And I like the problem solving too. That's something that I didn't think about before getting this job and entering that role, but I love problem solving. I love when things don't run smoothly and I have to dig through the data and kind of find what is causing the issue. And I love like finding it and that just like it's so fun. You're like, yes, I found the issue. Why all this is not running. And it's just really fun. It's like putting a puzzle together.
I actually kind of like that stuff too, because like you said, it's problem solving. Like
Mhm.
that, like one of the biggest things I like about my job and coming in here and not only like doing the calls and the emails is creating processes. And that's what you're
Mhm.
doing all day long. You know what I mean? So it's like that excites me too. Like I love creating processes and problem solving. Like that
Mhm.
dopamine hit for me.
Yeah. And
Same.
like I went to coding boot camp where like engineers, that's all they do is they problem solve and like so I really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah.
What do you wish people knew about your job?
I wish prospects knew how much they hurt my feelings when they ghost me. Or
Barbara
to,
takes it personally.
we just talked about this too. I'm like, oh, I'm learning not to take things personally, but no, it definitely still hurts, but I'm okay. It's fine.
What about you, Rebecca?
I wish people didn't feel so bad when they have requests. I feel like so many times people are like, I'm so sorry to bug you, but like, can you get this for me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. You don't have to feel bad for asking me for more. That's my job. That's why I'm here.
Speaking of hero devs, even though we weren't talking about it.
We were.
Speaking of hero devs, here's a quick word about what we do. Over to me. This episode was brought to you by Hero Devs. It takes longer to migrate than it takes for open source software to reach end of life. Hero Devs to the rescue! Our never-ending support keeps deprecated open source software secure and compliant with SOC 2, FedRAMP, PCI, and HIPAA. Join the over 800 clients who trust Hero Devs to keep their legacy code running smoothly long after official support ends. Now, end of life doesn't have to mean end of the road. Visit HeroDevs.com to learn more. And back to me! Welcome back to Ship It Anyway! Our next game is called Funded or Fiction. In this game, I'll pitch 2 over-the-top startups. It's up to you to figure out which one got funded and which one is fiction. Each correct answer earns 1 point. The winner gets to go first in the next game. Barbara, you're up first. Are you ready? Number 1. Which one was funded? Was it A, Yoga Llama, a Bulgarian startup offering yoga sessions with llamas to enhance relaxation and mindfulness? Or was it B, Flirt AI, an app that uses AI to generate personalized flirty text messages based on your crush's zodiac sign?
It could be either, but I'm gonna go Flirt AI.
Incorrect.
Dang
It was-
my
it was-
first choice was the llamas, and I was like, no, I'm going with my gut next time.
It's
I'm
called
fine.
Yoga Llama.
Not competitive at all.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. There's more chances. Here we go. Question number 2. Which one got funded? Was it A, Starfish Space, a company developing small satellites capable of capturing and moving other objects in orbit? Or B, Orbital Cleaners, a startup offering a subscription-based service to clean and polish satellites?
First one.
That is correct.
I was gonna be so upset if I didn't get it. I was
Good
like,
guess.
is their satellites clean or not? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Rebecca, you're up next. Number 1. Which one got funded? Was it A, Mushroom Bricks, a startup producing sustainable building materials made from mycelium? Oh my gosh, I hope I said that right. The root structure of mushrooms, offering an eco-friendly alternative to traditional bricks. Or B, Plasticrete, a company developing construction bricks made entirely from recycled plastic, aiming to reduce plastic waste and provide affordable building materials.
I'm hoping it's the plastic one.
Incorrect. The answer was A, Mushroom Bricks. While Plasticrete does exist, it's not a company, it's just an idea, at least at the time of this recording. Number 2. Which one is real? Is it A, Bee Urban, an urban beekeeping company that installs and maintains rooftop hives in cities to support pollinator populations and educate communities? Or is it B, Honey High Rise, a startup designing high-tech beehives for skyscrapers that connect to smart apps and produce vertical honey?
The first one.
That is correct.
Okay. It's like there's no way.
Bee Urban is a real UK-based company that promotes sustainability by offering beekeeping services, corporate hive sponsorships, and local honey production. That leaves us with a tie. But that's okay. We still have another game later. We will break the tie. So now we've talked about a little bit about your past job experiences. I'd like to chat a little bit about what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about getting hired into tech?
I came from gym sales, so I think that when people hear the word tech, you have to have a ton of experience. Like whenever I talk to my friends about it that are just in completely different roles, like fresh out of college and whatnot, they're like, oh, I have to make like this crazy resume or I need to like load up all of this like technical experience. And it's like, sure, maybe in some companies, like that's important. But for me, there was just a lot of other qualities that I think were more important during the interview process. And I don't think that knowing the ins and outs of the tech world were like first on the list. Like, sure, understand the product and how to talk to people about it. But I don't think that you have to be super technical, especially in sales. I mean, I'm definitely like targeting we're speaking with, people in different roles that are very technical, like engineers, but that doesn't mean that I have to be an engineer to be able to sell the product or set up a meeting. So I think people just get scared or like think it's so intense when they hear the word tech, but there's plenty of entry level roles into it.
I feel like I still get scared of like the word tech. I feel like I'm one of those people that's very intimidated by the fact that like I work with engineers and people who do know the ins and out of like the technology that we build, and I'm not so much familiar with it, even though like I have a background of software engineering, like I'm not actively like using it right now. So sometimes I'm like still a little, still a little intimidated.
What did you think working in tech was going to be like versus what it's turned out to be for you?
And this is my first role, like my first big girl job. So like I didn't really have any expectations going into it. Um, but I think similarly to Barbara, like I think people probably think you have to have a lot more technical experience than you do. I think a lot of the non-tech, like the soft skills, translate really well into the tech world.
How do you stay connected to the product or a company mission when you're not building it yourself?
I think leaning on others consistently, just being able to collaborate and connect with other people and not being afraid to reach out or ask questions, even if you think it's stupid. Like, I am always in the sales chat with the dumbest questions that come through the live chat. And I'm like, okay, everyone, what does this mean? And sometimes I'm like a little intimidated to do that because I'm like, oh man, should I know the answer to this? But it's realistically like, you try to stay as connected as you can, but the only way you learn is by answering those questions that you're afraid to ask and just putting yourself out there and leaning on other people and your teams.
I would be embarrassed to share my ChatGPT history with everybody because I'm like,
Me
I
too.
Google, I look up the dumbest things. Like, what does this stand for? What does this mean?
Yep.
But you're not going to learn if you don't go out and try to learn those things. Like, if you just sit back and don't proactively look up what you have questions on, you're not going to learn what those things are.
Yeah, and I think that connecting outside your role is super important. So just like throwing those catch-ups on the calendar, like when you're doing a cold call role play, like maybe not consistently doing it with the sales team, but like looping in an engineer or like someone else who really knows the product intensely and is going to be able to grill you a bit more and like tell you what they would appreciate when they're being contacted.
Also, it's tech. Like, no engineer like expects you to know everything because they also don't know everything.
What's a soft skill that turned out to be way more important than you expected?
I think it's the ability to kind of talk to anyone and just to make everybody feel like appreciated and accepted and just being like really understanding because kind of tying it back to what I was talking about earlier is I don't the excitement doesn't really come from me just booking a meeting, but it's the conversation and the connection that I made and just the ability to like learn and understand people better even when I'm on the phone, like me just being myself and being cheery and like not being super scripted and genuinely asking them how their day's going, even though they're like, who the heck is this? Like, it ends up just making a big difference in the way that the conversation goes if you're just yourself and you're just outgoing and willing to engage and connect with people. I think that they can tell when you're genuinely passionate and care about making their lives easier than just ticking a box.
If you want to tie it back to my background in psychology, like knowing how people work and getting on an interpersonal level, I think that's a really important soft skill, and not just talking at people, but talking with people and like getting their feedback. And it's not just, at least for me, like it's not just presenting at like everything towards them, but wanting to know, like, is there anything I can make better? Is there anything I can do better? Any improvements that you want?
I think that connection between psychology and business is something that should be talked about more as well, because I think that so often people can get really complacent in their roles, or a lot of companies will have somebody start out in a position and they management kind of acts as if everybody's wired the same way and meant to learn and to understand and do things super particularly. But the difference is like we all have different things that we're good at and we all do things in different ways that make them unique. So when you find management like we have here at Hero Devs that really excels off of taking the time to understand each individual person and how they think and how they operate is like so important because then it's you don't feel like you're just stuck in this box of doing things the way that everybody's doing them and you're actually able to be creative and figure out like new ways of doing things and what works for you and the differences is what makes people great at their jobs.
What advice would you give to somebody who's coming into tech that's not an engineer?
Not being afraid to just start reaching out to anyone and everyone, and just taking the time to communicate with people all over the board. So, like when I was onboarding here at Hero Devs, like the first thing that I did, and I'm sure a lot of people do too, is I tried to connect with everyone, but at least 1 to 2 people from different roles and understanding what's happening on the back end, what's happening in marketing, customer success, like how does all of this tie together? How can we all collaborate? And then once you kind of have the roots figured out of what's going on in different roles, and on the back end, you can kind of take bits and pieces from everyone that like you liked or you didn't like and just start building your own process and routine.
What do you think, Rebecca? I know you talked about how you networked the shit out of LinkedIn. I won't leave that in there. I'll edit that part out.
I mean, you can
I
keep
think
it.
it's important. Put it in there.
Yeah,
Let
you can
people
keep
know.
it. I don't know. I think some advice that I would have liked to hear starting out would have been like, you don't have to know everything about your role day one or even day two or one weekend. Like, it takes time when you're entering any new company. So just have a little grace within yourself and, like, ask questions, reach out, collaborate with people, and just allow that time for yourself to really get your feet on the ground and understand the ins and outs of the company.
Especially a lot of people come in, I'm definitely one of them. I'm like, oh, I need to have all of these processes figured out and all of this bill, and I have to meet everyone. And I'll be a month in and I'm like, how am I not grasping this already? And it's like, well, you just got here like not even a month ago, so calm down. But it's so important to remember that.
I feel like a lot of people experience imposter syndrome. I know I did. I was like, like everyone else here is so experienced and this is my first job. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, God.
I shouldn't be here. But yeah, I think just giving yourself grace is important.
Advice I would give, get a feel for the company culture. Try to find a company culture that's welcoming for questions, welcoming a place where you're hungry to learn. One of the ways you can do that is just to ask a lot of questions in your interview, and depending on how the person who's interviewing you responds to how many questions you're asking, if they're good questions, it gives you a vibe for like, is this the kind of place where I can admit that I don't know everything? Or do they really expect me to know everything? Is this even the right fit for me?
Yeah. You can feel the difference between working for a place where you feel afraid to ask a question or that you're going to be judged, or working for somewhere where you're like, oh, of course I'm going to throw this in the chat.
Now that we've talked about what you both know best, we're going to shift to our final game of the show called Not My Job. I'm going to ask you 2 questions that have nothing to do with your job in the real world or anything we've talked about today, and everything to do with what you know about things people have tried to mail. Mail as in, like, the post office mail. Each correct answer earns 1 point. Currently, it is tied 1-1. Normally, the winner would go first, but I'm just going to pick someone at random because it's a tie. Rebecca, you get to go first. Number 1. What surprising thing did a couple try to mail to their grandparents in 1913? Was it A, a live goat, B, a bag of potatoes with a face drawn on it, or C, their child?
Their child.
That is correct.
Of course, they need a babysitter.
That's
They
right.
need childcare. 1913, that's your childcare, your grandparents.
In 1913, just after parcel post began in the U.S., a couple mailed their baby with stamps attached to the child's clothing to their grandparents. The child weighed under the 11-pound limit, so technically it was allowed.
Wait, this was success?
I don't know if the person got delivered, but my goodness.
Oh my God.
I know.
Crazy.
1913. Question number 2. In 1959, what did the United States Postal Service mail as part of a publicity stunt to prove the future of airmail? Was it A, a car, B, a missile, or C, a pizza?
59. A pizza?
Incorrect. The answer was B, a missile.
A missile?
Can you believe that?
crazy.
The U.S. Navy launched a
Oh, and yeah, I should have said
regulatory missile
the
filled
U.S.
with
Navy,
mail.
the U.S.
It was filled with mail. Sent it from Virginia to Florida to promote the idea of missile mail. It worked, but it never caught on. Because, like, who has a missile in their backyard that they can just, like,
Yeah.
mail around?
Like, it's
It's kind of
there.
silly.
Yeah,
I was
let me go
like-
grab my missile really quick.
I was
Yeah,
like,
it's a
which
little
one
strange.
would be the most convenient for everyday Americans? A pizza.
I would have picked that one, too. All right, Barbara, you're up next. 2 questions. Here we go. Number 1. What did artist W. Reginald Bray famously mail through the British Postal Service in the early 1900s? Was it A, himself, B, a turnip carved with an address, or C, both of the above?
Both of the above.
That is correct. Apparently, Bray was obsessed with testing postal regulations. He mailed himself, a dog, a turnip, and even sent a postcard to an address written in code. And most of it was delivered.
I
You
hope the
got it.
dog made it.
Me too. It didn't say which one made it.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What did a man successfully mail to his friend in the 1990s just for the novelty of it? Was it A, a fridge, B, a coconut, or C, a broken microwave?
Just for the novelty.
Mm-hmm.
A coconut.
That is correct. In Hawaii and several tropical locations, it's a known tourist gimmick to mail coconuts with messages written right on the shell with no box needed. Well done! That brings the totals for Barbara with 3 points, Rebecca with 2 points. Barbara, you're the winner. Congratulations! That's all for this episode of Ship It Anyway. Big thanks to Barbara and Rebecca for playing along and sharing their insights. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find more entertaining tech content from Hero Devs on LinkedIn, X.com, YouTube, and anywhere else podcasts can be found. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.